Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how much money do you make writing a book. You can make lots of money from writing a book, but it depends on a lot of factors. By the end of this video, you'll learn the paths to publication and the best ways to drive revenue from your book. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. It's an interesting concept to think about how much money do you make writing a book. The writing process and the publishing process are really different. They're connected, but they're different. When you think about writing and making money from it, it really aligns with traditional book publishing, where you have an idea for a book, you work with a literary agent and a publisher who agrees to sign off on this book, and they will pay you money up front to write it. And one of the interesting things about nonfiction book writing is that you can actually get a book deal with an unfinished manuscript. Whereas with fiction, a lot of times a publisher will want the full draft and a refined draft. Nonfiction's different. Nonfiction, if you have an idea and you have a strong book proposal, which is a 25 to 50 page document kind of outlining the roadmap of the book, the platform, your sales opportunities, what the book is about, comparable titles and other things, in sample chapters, they'll actually take that roadmap and want to work with you and give you a book deal. And they will pay you up front at different intervals for signing the book deal, for submitting the draft, publication day, whatever the case may be. There could be 2 or 3 payments just for the writing process. Self-publishing is different. When you're self-publishing a book, all the costs are out of pocket, all the efforts are out of pocket. So anything that you're doing on the writing side, you might not get paid for. You probably wouldn't get paid for with self-publishing because you're guiding this process. You're the one who's leading this way forward. Oftentimes, I will work with authors as a book ghostwriter, which means I will collaborate with them directly and help them write the strongest book possible. I'll help them write a proposal, I'll help them write their draft, whatever the case may be. If they're interested in the traditional publishing process, we'll work that way. If they're interested in self-publishing, we'll focus on that as well. It's interesting to work with authors in that writing capacity and helping them sharpen the story and sharpen the message and, really focus on the reader journey and making their book as strong as possible. The things that I do to help my authors that I work with, it also helps them in the back end. So there's that front end of the writing process, but then there's the publishing process and everything that comes after. When you're writing a great draft, when you're writing a great book, the revenue potential doesn't just exist during the writing process. It exists for years to come. It's the doors that open because of the book. It's being able to connect with people and get them excited to collaborate with you, to take this journey together. Looking at the book as just the starting point of something special. You want somebody who's interested in picking up your book and reading it to say, what can I do next? And you have to think about what that next step looks like when you're writing the book. Because if you are not thinking about it, you're going to miss opportunities. Maybe it's high-level coaching services. Maybe it's consulting. Maybe it's working with your company on this special thing that only you can do. Whatever it is, you really need to think about connecting your message with your bigger picture goals and your sales funnel and get them excited to take the leap, to become a lead, to become a client, to become a paying customer. That's where so much revenue opportunity comes through with the book. I think back to some of the authors I worked with and the money that they paid out of pocket before the book was published. And maybe that was $25,000 to $50,000 total. From book ghostwriting to editing, cover design, layout, all these steps to publication cost money. And there's this pressure, this stress to say, I want to make my money back. A lot of times when I work with authors and they publish their book, they don't get their money back. And it's because they haven't connected their book to these sales goals and these sales funnels. But when the authors I work with have connected it to sales goals and have these, services to offer, they have that next step for the people that read the book, they can make that money back. I've gotten so many calls from people who said, I just had a new client sign up for $50,000 worth of services. One person just paid for the entire book process, and then another person comes through. They just paid $75,000. Now you're looking at, a 6-figure revenue from 2 books sold. That's an incredible thing. I've had other clients who have sold tens of thousands of copies of the book and made money that way. But that's not as dependable. That's not as predictable. It's tough to know when your book is going to take that next step. It's tough to know when your book is going to break out. And it's so much easier to think about finding the specific people who want to work with you and giving them a reason to keep going with you than it is to think about book sales. Because so many people focus on book sales, and book sales are an overrated statistic. People think of it as the be-all end-all. I'm going to sell X amount of copies and make this much money. Don't worry about book sales. Book sales are overrated. Most books don't sell that many copies. Most books don't even sell 1,000 copies. Instead of thinking about 1,000 books sold, or think about the audience size, think about the connections that you can build with the people in that audience. Think about what 50 or 100 people will want to do when they read your book. What's that next step look like? And if you can map that out and build that within the book and build that around the book, to have this sales funnel and the book be a part of it, there's so much more opportunity on the opposite side of it. It's worth keeping in mind too that a book is a long-term commitment. This is not a quick hit. This is not something that you're going to immediately get your money back from. This is a long-term asset. This is a long-term opportunity for you that you could see returns on in 2 to 3 years. It's going to take time to bring the book to publication, and it's going to take time for people to want to take that next step beyond. So even if you have a book out in a year, it's not to say that you're going to immediately see returns from it. It's going to take time. You need to be able to build everything around the book. You need to be able to map out what that next step looks like for the reader to become a lead or a customer, whether it's meeting with you, whether it's signing up for something. But you want to see what that looks like and keep an open mind, because opportunities can open up all the time. Whether it's a new speaking engagement, whether it's just a new revenue opportunity. It's really about putting yourself out there and really doing the work. Because if you just put a book out on Amazon, there's so many other books. What makes your book stand out? What makes your book different? What makes your book unique? It's beyond that. It's the confidence that you have inside, that you have a message that resonates, that this carries forward. And it's being able to take the message in your book and apply it to the next thing, whatever's happening right now, or these upcoming topics or issues. How does your book relate to that space? How does your book relate to something that's happening right now? Again, longer term. You're not thinking about writing the book for the moment it's published. You're thinking about an all-time kind of book. You're thinking about somebody picking this up 5 and 10 years from now and wanting to connect with you and being moved by it. You want to write a book that resonates. You want to write a book that means something. And you want to write a book that's going to carry forward for years to come and be a part of everything that you offer and everything you do. And if you can do those things, there's going to be so much opportunity. But it's about really digging deep within yourself, and it's about making sure that everything around the book is as strong and robust as possible. If you want to learn more about how much money do you make writing a book, I'd love to share more insight and guidance. Just go to my website. It's goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below. There you can schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me. I would love to hear more about your book. I'd love to hear more about your ideas, the things that you'd like to accomplish from your book, and see if I can help you in any way. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.